Hey everyone, Brobuscus here, and you know what time it is. It's time for a death battle. Today's episode, we have Simon the Digger from Gurren Lagann versus Kyle Rayner, the White Lantern from DC Comics. Now, of course, as always, there should be a link in the description below and go watch the actual episode yourself. Go support the official release before watching some random guy need to react to it, okay? Got it? Cool. Okay, so yeah, hope you like the new intro, by the way. Kind of experimenting a little bit now that I've got the shirt, I got the coin, I got the poster. I don't know, just thought I'd try something new for a change. So, how do I know these characters? Well, for one thing, let me just say, this is a big fight, so this is gonna be something. This is gonna be something for sure. But how do I know these characters? Well, during the lead up to this episode, I actually did watch Gurren Lagann, with my buddies, Z-Dog and Richard. And it was a good time. I probably don't feel, as strong about it as they do, or as a lot of other people do, because everyone's like, peak fiction, it's throwing around the peak fiction, line. And I can understand why, to be fair, but I don't know if I'd entirely go that far. But I'd still say it's a really good show. And Simon is definitely a really cool character. It's the whole, what's the word I'm looking for? It's the idea, I guess, of like, you start you're literally starting at the bottom, and then you're climbing your way all the way up to the top. Like, Simon literally went from drilling underground to piercing the heavens. That's the whole thing. So, yeah. So yeah, it's a cool show for sure. Now, as for Kyle, unfortunately, my experience with him is very minimal, if just straight up non-existent. I wanted to read Kyle comics during the lead up to this episode, but things just like really got ahead of me. Like, it's if you know what me and my buddies have been doing lately, then you'll probably understand that time just wasn't on my side to read Kyle comics, so I do want to make that a thing. I do want to read them one day, but today is not that day. So by the virtue of the fact that I've watched one thing and I haven't read the other, you're probably expecting me to root for Simon here. But to be completely honest with you, I'm not too... I don't feel too strongly about either of them winning. I guess I should rephrase. I'm perfectly content with either of them winning. Part of me is kind of wanting to slightly lean towards rooting Kyle, because it seems like, especially during the lead up to this episode, Kyle started to become more of like the underdog, and I don't mind being underdog victory. Excuse me, but yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I don't really have much of a horse in this race regardless. I guess if I had to pick one I'd rather see win, I mean, yeah, I guess by virtue of that, I've experienced one character's franchise and haven't done much with the other. I guess I gotta root for Simon here. As far as do I think he's going to win? Well, that is the $1 million question, isn't it? To be honest, I think it is perfectly reasonable to make an argument for either of them to win. just off of what I've been told about both characters. Both have a solid win condition going for both of them. Both are ungodly powerful. I think what's ultimately gonna decide this is how strong is Kyle compared to Simone? How much stronger is Kyle compared to Simone at the start? Because the way I see it, from what I've been told anyway, is that both characters are going to be like getting stronger and stronger and stronger as the fight goes on. But Simone's going to rise up at a like more consistent rate, whereas Kyle's going to be like going up and then maybe down a little bit, and then up and then maybe down a little bit, and then up and then maybe down a little bit. And it's also like their win conditions. I think for Kyle, it's like soul sealing or something, like through like some Orange Lantern powers. I don't remember the details. This is a very detail heavy fight. And then Simone, it's really just the probability missiles, and really the fact that he's basically absorbed the experience of pretty much every Simone across the multiverse, thanks to like the Anti-Spiral's multiversal labyrinth. So the problem with Kyle's win condition is that it's something he's never done before. He absolutely can do it, from what I understand. Like it is something that is within his that is like a thing. It's within his power to do, but it's something he's never actually tried before. Whereas with Simone, the probability missiles, they just came out one day. He just used them in one episode, and like there wasn't any like rhyme or reason to it. It was just, hey, I have this weapon, let's do it. So Simone's to me just seems a bit more likely to happen. So I guess by virtue of that, I feel like Simone's victory is probably a bit more likely. So I'm gonna side with him for now, but I absolutely think this is a really close fight, and my opinion could absolutely be swayed by watching the analyses. And on that note, let's watch the analyses.
Simone the Digger,
Kyle Rayner, the White Lantern.
two men born of Earth with the willpower to pierce the heavens and conquer infinity.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job.
This is gonna be an insane fight.
To find out who would win a death battle. Deep underground, Jiha Village lived in dreary isolation, oblivious to the wider world above their squalid cave.
That's where the hero of our story comes in. The young man who would lead his comrades into the sunlight at last. Kamina, the great and mighty. Oh, and his little brother from another mother, Simone. He was there too, I guess.
Simone was a digger, content to drill endlessly through the dirt, until the day he found the core.
Pronounced Simone,
The
yep.
key that activated the mysterious buried mech that Kamina named Lagann. Under his magnificently masculine leadership, Kamina finally drilled their way to freedom, seeing the sun after a life in the dark.
But the sky was by no means the limit. The surface was ruled by the cruel chimeric beastmen, and Kamina would lead his compatriots against them to reclaim the Earth for humanity, scoring a second mech in the process, aptly named Gurren.
And as befits Kamina and Simone's unbreakable brotherly bond, Gurren and Lagann merged, creating Gurren Lagann.
With Kamina piloting the body and Simone the head, these two
Very
were
original name.
unstoppable.
Of all the giant fighting robots in all the animes across history, Gurren Lagann might just be the absolute coolest, fueled by its pilot's willpower and capable of making any weapon they can imagine.
Including missiles, a jetpack, a sunglasses boomerang, and of course,
Drills, yep.
Mounted drills, kunai drills, shield drills, kamehameha drills, and everyone's favorite, the Giga Drill Bureku! Side note, it is so funny that the only thing they could think of was drills. That's like if I made booze or something my whole personality. What up?
With Gurren Lagann's awesome power, Kamina laid waste to enemy forces, liberated human villages, and fomented a rebellion against the Beastmen King, Lord Genome.
Until Kamina died. Oh, wait, shit, was that supposed to happen?
Nope, and it was all Simon's fault. He let his willpower waver, and his soul brother paid the price. After all, he was just a humble digger, at home in the darkness, guided solely by the light of Kamina's spirit.
So his big bro left him with these final words. Have faith in the Simone who believes in you. Damn.
Kamina was the one looking up to him the whole time. It was Simone who found Lagann, Simone who pierced the surface, and Simone who would now lead humanity to victory.
Especially with his gal pal Nia at his side, who helped pull him out of his rut and kick Lord Genome's ass. But victory only lasted 7 years before the anti-spiral attacked.
Unimaginably powerful godlike aliens.
Oh my god, it's Majora.
Anti-Spiral feared humanity's potential, what they dubbed the Spiral Nemesis.
Remember how Gurren Lagann runs on fighting spirit? Turns out that's
Sure.
just a manifestation of spiral power, an energy that all spiral beings, like humans, have. That's right, the laws of physics run on chutzpah.
Just as the spiral turned inward represents endless obsession and madness, the spiral turned outward spins forever into infinity, the perfect representation of humanity's evolutionary potential.
Potential Simon would use as he led Team Dai Gurren across the multiverse to take the fight to the anti-spiral. And this is when Gurren Lagann gets crazy.
Channeling
Yeah.
spiral power lets you constantly adapt to threats, no matter how overwhelming. Simone can create portals to different realities and higher dimensions. He can generate force fields, absorb energy attacks, and even merge Gurren Lagann with bigger and stronger machines.
Creating the Arc Gurren Lagann, which is strong enough to shatter space and time with a punch.
Or the Super Galaxy Gurren Lagann, which can fire lasers that are fast enough to hit, and I quote, all time, space, and dimensions, all within a Planck instant.
That's the smallest unit of time physically possible.
Meaning each laser would have to be moving 4.6 times 10 to the 117th power times faster than light. Oh, well, looks like this wins the award for fastest calculated speed feat in our show's history.
There you go,
Congratulations,
Simone.
Gurren Lagann.
Move over, SpongeBob. You've been dethroned. As the guidebook says, they hit an innumerable number of enemies across infinite universes. You literally cannot calculate how fast that is.
But it wasn't
Right.
enough to escape the anti-spiral's greatest trap, the multiverse labyrinth. An attack that imprisoned Simone in his own unique multiverse, forced to experience an infinite number of alternate realities that controlled his mind, permanently arresting him in a dream world.
Except Simone and his spiral power are just built different. And after being inspired by his bro, Simone absorbed that whole multiverse to escape.
What makes this even more impressive is that this labyrinth was 11-dimensional, meaning Simone absorbed a higher dimensional structure several orders of infinity greater than himself. The jump between dimensions is basically infinite.
Oh boy.
Each new dimension adds a new direction of space that extends infinitely, thus an infinite gap in size and scope.
What?
Oh, we're just getting started. Imagine a two-dimensional drawing interacting with a three-dimensional person.
Okay. That's not too far off from what actually happened.
Because when Simone absorbed the multiverse labyrinth, he merged with every alternate universe version of himself, including an alternate universe Simone who was writing his own alternate universe version of Gurren Lagann. And that author's spiral power made his fictional Simone real, adding another to the mix.
Wait, if
Oh,
every
boy.
human being has spiral power, you're telling me we can all do this shit?
This all gave our Simone enough spiral power to form the next step in mecha evolution, Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann.
This is when Gurren Lagann gets actually fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like shooting missiles that alter probability so they have a 100% chance of hitting you, or tossing galaxies around like frisbees. Sorry, did I say galaxies? I meant universes.
Simon's power was so immense that he started generating super spiral space, a higher dimension encompassing our own universe.
With it, Simon turns his thoughts into reality, letting him create his mech and all of its weapons in the first place.
Not only does this mean he no longer needs co-pilots, he can also regenerate any damage done to him or his mech just by willing it back into existence.
Like when Lord Genome used spiral power to survive quantum breakdown, or the time Nia, now the best wife in the universe, used spiral power to constantly regenerate her body from being erased at the informational level for 7 days straight.
Information in
Yikes.
physics is essentially the ones and zeros that make up every possible outcome in reality. Nia literally regenerated from the statistical certainty of her own destruction.
If I have spiral power, whiz, when the fuck is my leg growing back?
When even this was not enough for the anti-spiral, Simon evolved one more time.
Into Super Tangentopa Gurren Lagann!
This mech is so big,
Definitely
its
not a
size is
mouthful
literally
name.
incalculable. And with a drill somehow even larger than that, Simon and his friends shattered the anti-spiral once and for all.
Hey, cruel indifference of the universe! Meet the indomitable human spirit!
Proving Kamina's words prophetic, that Simon's drill is the drill that would pierce the heavens.
With no more worlds left to conquer, Simon chose to wander the earth for the rest of his days, in service to others.
Always looking up, for all the lights in the sky are stars, and every star another world of spiral cousins that can live free.
All thanks to a humble digger.
The universe is a dangerous place. Should you find yourself face to face with an interdimensional vampire, alien dictators, or this one really pissed off cat, you know who to call.
The Green Lantern Corps! They're the Space Fuzz, an intergalactic police force founded billions of years ago by blue leprechaun gods.
And the greatest Green Lantern among them was everyone's favorite,
Hal
You
Jordan.
know him, you love him, you might hate him, but you gotta respect the
playing-
man with a will as
Playing a dangerous game there.
Until the day his will broke.
After his hometown got completely obliterated, Hal lost his mind. He rampaged through the core, killing everyone in his path, and absorbed the central power battery, the literal Green Lantern.
Becoming the Emerald Tyrant,
Parallax.
There was
Yep.
only one survivor of Parallax's killing spree, Ganthet. And with what remained of his strength, he gave the last Green Lantern ring in the universe to a human, Kyle Rayner.
So, was Kyle picked for his indomitable willpower like Hal was?
Nope.
He was just there. He had no idea what was going on. Must feel good being given the most dangerous magical weapon in existence to figure
He
out
likes
on your
Gamera.
own. Hey, if Colonel Sanders,
Okay.
Daffy Duck, Space Wheat, and a
Dislikes DC editorial, don't we all?
What's your excuse, Kyle?
The Green Lantern ring can do anything, fulfilling any wish its user desires as though it were a genie from a lamp.
It lets you fire energy blasts, create force fields, affect gravity, turn invisible and intangible, manipulate matter, time travel, warp reality, and erase things from existence.
Think we're exaggerating? Well, consider
Nice
the time
transition
Kyle
there.
stretched the very fabric of space to increase the Planck length a billion times over. That's like stretching an inch into a light year.
Lanterns control time and space, letting them fly so fast they can create a Speed Force singularity.
Tapping into the Speed Force requires entering a higher dimension of space, requiring speeds that are not only faster than light, but totally immeasurable. And the rings have an artificial intelligence that operates just as fast, automatically protecting its user from danger.
Like the time that Boozer Kilowog survived being erased from existence by the Crisis on Infinite Earth.
The ring is fueled by its user's willpower and limited only by their imagination.
While Hal may have had the greatest willpower in the Corps, Kyle's imagination is unmatched, probably because he's a comic book artist. And we know from this show, they think of some wild shit.
But the Green Lantern's most recognizable ability is their constructs, Kyle's speciality.
Samurai armor, pirate ships, giant dragons, actual working home computers, and his favorite, super fighting robots. Hey, that one looks familiar.
Kyle can make them strong enough to lift the Spectre, who weighs as much as eternity.
Or hold back a 12.3 dimensional Big Bang. Wait, 0.3? DC's multiverse has 12.3 dimensions? That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
The ring's only downside is that it's limited to 24 hours before needing a recharge.
So it can blow up universes, but it has the battery of an iPhone. Never mind, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Although I'd say Kyle's biggest weakness was Kyle. With great power came no responsibility.
Perhaps a manifestation of Kyle's self-doubt. Any reflection came too late, though, when one of Kyle's villains brutally murdered his girlfriend, Alex, and put her body in a fridge.
Kyle wasn't the only one traumatized. This moment was so infamous, it started the trope called fridging.
For how female characters are often sacrificed as mere plot devices to further a male character's development.
So it might surprise you that it happened to Kyle again.
Kyle finally got serious. He became a prominent member of the Justice League, faced off against Hal, and even rebuilt the Green Lantern Corps better than ever.
But little did he know, this torchbearer's greatest journey had only just begun.
In order to save Ganthet from an emotional lobotomy, it's a long story, he had to master all the colors of the emotional electromagnetic spectrum.
There are 7 colors, each representing a different emotion. The yellow light of fear lets Kyle manipulate the worst horrors in your mind. The more scared you are of him, the stronger he becomes.
Orange light is fueled by bottomless avarice, possessing Kyle to absorb not merely his enemies' attacks, but also their souls.
Red is rage, ripping out Kyle's heart and replacing his blood with napalm, which sounds like it sucks, but it's metal as hell.
Blue light is powered by hope and allows Kyle to heal wounds, resist mental domination, and supercharge his ring.
Indigo is compassion, reducing his opponent's will to fight and letting him open portals across space, connecting him to others.
The final one was the sapphire light of love. With it, he can trap enemies within crystal matrices and control their minds. But Kyle only mastered it by forgiving himself for Alex's tragic death.
Oh, self-love. I get it. Must be nice. And with their powers combined, he doesn't just make his enemies taste the rainbow.
The lights of the spectrum merged and Kyle became a White Lantern with total control over the power of life.
Wiz, I cannot think of an attack more useless in a death battle than something that makes you live.
Empowered by the physical embodiment
of
all life in the DC multiverse, Kyle is vastly more powerful than any other Lantern in existence.
Far stronger than Hal, who could harness the energy of every power battery across the multiverse.
Not only can Kyle instantly heal all wounds, purify corruption, and resurrect the dead, the white light of life is strong enough to go up against threats to all of creation, like the Anti-Monitor.
Okay, so it's not totally useless.
Especially after Kyle visited the Source and acquired the Life Equation. Essentially the source code to reality, the Life Equation is mathematical proof that life is worth living.
With it, Kyle can alter all of reality at a whim, even threatening the new gods like Darkseid.
The Life Equation, like its counterpart, the Anti-Life Equation, is a conceptual artifact from a higher reality, originating in a platonic realm that is, in a sense, more real than we are.
So it's not a shock that the equation made Kyle too powerful.
He struggled to control it, and it subconsciously manifested a being composed of his fears and anxieties. Oblivion. Kyle's greatest weakness was still himself.
Kyle spent his whole life struggling with the power that the gods granted him, and throughout it all, he always rose to the occasion, carrying the universe on his back.
But ultimately, the only way to stop power from corrupting is to spread it. So Kyle split the Life Equation into pieces to found his second core, the White Lanterns. And together, they shattered Oblivion, destroying the self-doubt that plagued Kyle once and for all.
Not bad for a comic book geek from LA.
And now he was the one giving out rings of unlimited power to people who weren't sure if they could command it.
So he told them the truth. You can't teach someone how to use such power. You have to learn yourself, making mistakes along the way.
But with the power of life at their command, there's no end to their journey, only endless beginnings.
That's nice.
Hey, remember Beerus vs. Sailor Galaxia?
I do.
Well, that's because it was taken off YouTube for being too
anime.
But we've got a solution. It's our own website. That's www.deathbattle.gg. It's like our own private Patreon, with a store for Death Battle merch and a complete Death Battle video archive. It's got episodes that YouTube has banned, blocked, and censored, and there's even more goodies on the way. So check out deathbattle.gg live right now.
All right, the combatants are set, and we've run the data through all possibilities.
It's time for a death battle!
And pause. Okay, I need to take these off real quick. I'm going to give them a little charge. Yep, okay, cool. All right, so let's talk about this while I give those a minute. So this is going to be an interesting one. Okay, so immediate thought right out the gate, the sealing away thing. They mentioned for Kyle something about like sealing him away. Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to. No, I was talking about that earlier. That didn't click in my head. So something I didn't even think about. And I probably should have brought this up during discussions, but so Simone has the power of like basically it's like he's got like 11-dimensional power that he absorbed from the multiversal labyrinth. Kyle held back as a Green Lantern. Kyle held back a 12.3, I think, dimensional Big Bang. So that's higher. Not a lot higher, but it's higher. I wonder if that's gonna be enough to overwhelm Simone. I think, okay, let me get some absolutes out of the way. Simone is definitely more experienced with the multiversal labyrinth. Kyle's definitely more like versatile with all the different like lantern powers. And like that's it, and that's even ignoring like the constructs. So again, the probability missiles, those are nice. I don't think those are gonna like kill Kyle. At least they're not gonna like. It's not like Simone's gonna shoot one probability missile at Kyle and then that's it. But they're definitely gonna hit him, and that's gonna be a problem. There's a lot for me to think about here. The higher dimensional stuff for Kyle, unless I'm completely misunderstanding what they said for Simone, which is absolutely possible. I think the higher dimensional stuff for Kyle is interesting, and it is probably going to be really helpful. Like it is a higher level, even if it is slight, but it is still higher. But like I said earlier, I feel like Simone's probably just going to get... I think both of them are going to get stronger, but Simone's going to do it at a faster rate. So... and then obviously the life equation is a thing. This is a hefty one. I won't be surprised if I end up being wrong here. Part of me wants to go for Kyle. Part of me feels like that's probably a safer bet right now. I don't know what it is, but so you know what? Just to kind of wrap this up, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go with Kyle. Really, probably just because like I wasn't like I went for Simone when I started, and I wasn't like seeing a lot of the arguments. I just don't. I don't. I honestly don't know. So you know what? I'm just gonna I'm just gonna pick Kyle. That's the final answer. Don't care. I'm probably wrong, but it is what it is. Are you still on? Let's find out. You were not. Okay, good. I checked. All right, let's do it.
All right, I'm not rusty at all.
Hey dude, Green Lantern Officer Kyle Rayner here. Brink says you've got a Class A galactic super weapon, whatever that is. I'm thinking it's the giant mech. Why don't you hand it over?
Gurren Lagann's mine, officer. Just who the hell do you think you are?
It's summoning Balrog. Are we just gonna have?
I'm told I'm bad with authority.
Are we just gonna have Kyle?
Four?
Okay, this is sick.
That's nothing! My drill will pierce the heavens!
The music is nice.
Go for Gurren Lagann!
Wow, that came out fast. And so did this. Okay.
That's really cool. I'm a digger.
We do the impossible.
See the invisible.
Touch the untouchable.
Break the unbreakable.
If you ain't know,
Now you know. Yep, they hit.
I'm Simone the Digger. If there's a wall in my way, I'll smash it down!
Is that the source wall? Oh, life equation.
stop fighting. Think about your fear of death, your love of your friends, your compassion for me, your hope for the future. Choose life.
Have faith in the Simone that believes in you.
Huh. I'm hearing these lyrics the whole time. I'm happy with this.
Drill that will transcend the heavens! Giga Drill Break!
Oh, that's cool, actually. Ooh.
The super weapon wasn't your mech.
It was me.
Then, Simone, I'm taking you in brightest day, in blackest night. No evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power.
Green Lantern's light. Oh.
Grit those teeth!
Oh, he's done.
You'd make a good lantern.
Simon of Earth, you have been chosen.
Just who the hell do you think I am?
The
Damn.
guy with the snazzy sunglasses.
When both combatants possess
Hi,
unlimited
Ringmaster.
power, it's hard to judge them by our normal standards. Take speed. Simone can hit an infinite number of targets all at once, and Kyle can fly fast enough to surpass the normal concept of speed itself.
When you control space and time, things like strength and speed kind of become irrelevant.
Instead, let's
Yeah.
analyze them through a lens more applicable to beings as absurd as Simone and Kyle. Their imagination, their willpower, and their ultimate potential.
First up, Imagination. The boundless things they could conjure to use against the other. Both could think up just about anything the other could, like absorbing each other's attacks, fighting across time, anything.
Simone did have a few attacks that Kyle hasn't encountered, like the probability-altering missiles, but it's likely Kyle could adapt considering his ring could protect against existence being erased across the multiverse.
And in
True.
general, Kyle's constructs were a lot more creative than Simone's arsenal, which was
yes.
mostly drills. Though, again, nothing Simone couldn't adapt to with, say, his energy absorption. Imagination is a draw.
That leaves the other
Okay.
main factor for both characters, the origin of their unbelievable might, their willpower.
And that's really gonna be the winning factor here, since it's the source of everything for both of them. Whoever's got the stronger willpower wins.
Both can manipulate reality on a multiversal scale with their willpower, but we can use dimensions to roughly calculate a difference. This might sound absurd for most characters, but it's necessary for beings as beyond the pale as Simone and Kyle.
The multiverse labyrinth that Simone absorbed contained 11 spatial dimensions. That's 1.3 dimensions less than the multiverse Kyle's power can threaten.
And remember,
Yep.
each numbered dimension infinitely surpasses the one below it.
Which meant Kyle's willpower
Okay.
was stronger at a base level. However, that doesn't necessarily mean Kyle gets the edge, because if there's one thing both of these guys are known for, it's that they can always get stronger.
So to determine the limits of their willpower, we first need to understand their full potential.
Simone's whole deal with spiral power is how he can constantly evolve to get stronger. So just because Simone starts off weaker doesn't mean he'll stay that way.
Absorbing the
True.
multiverse labyrinth required Simone to leapfrog several orders of infinity in an instant. Simone made himself that much stronger through sheer force of will.
More than enough to close the gap with Kyle, especially since spiral power also lets him regenerate his body down to an informational level. Kyle's never destroyed something that thoroughly before.
Without the ability to easily kill Simone, it was only a matter of time before Kyle's ring ran low on charge. Especially since Simone
I guess,
could likely
yeah.
regenerate for at least a week straight, like Nia did. While Blue Lantern Light could boost Kyle's power, he's never jumped several orders of infinity in strength like Simone has.
And while Kyle could manipulate emotions to reduce Simone's willpower, Simone resisting the labyrinth's mental manipulation meant he could power through anything Kyle threw at him.
Everything, that is, except for the life equation. It originated from a higher level of reality and would have more than even the odds.
Too bad Kyle couldn't control it. It was just as much
Yeah.
a detriment to him as an asset, forcing him to relinquish it to keep from destroying reality and himself.
Compare that to Simone, who merged with a version of himself writing a version of Gurren Lagann, and using spiral power to make that fiction into reality.
A pretty similar level of reality to the life equation, and a level of power Simone had no trouble embracing and mastering by the end of his story. No matter how you look at it, Simone might start weaker, but his peak will always transcend Kyle's. Isn't that how all of Simone's battles usually go anyway? That's Gurren Lagann in a nutshell.
So Simone's
True.
incredible potential eclipsed Kyle, which means his willpower was ultimately greater. Kyle may have embodied life itself, but Simone's unstoppable evolutionary potential would shatter even this lantern's light.
I hope Kyle at least dug the fight, because when it comes to death battle losers, he was a dead ringer.
The winner is Simone the Digger.
Wow.
Next time on Death
All right, what do we
Battle.
got? Oh! It's time!
Subscribe and join as a member to see
Wile E.
more
Coyote
Death
versus
Battle. Thanks for
Tomcat.
watching.
All right, it is finally time for that. Oh, my hair, good lord. I'm waiting on that one for a minute. Cool. All right. That's the one I was about to say we all voted on to happen. I didn't, but it's here now, so I'm happy for those who did, though. And yeah. But obviously with Rooster Teeth shut down, it was gonna become kind of a question on when is that fight happening? Well, apparently the answer is in about 4 weeks. So cool. I'm very interested to see how that one's gonna go. I don't have a whole lot of stakes in it. I mean, I'm definitely. I mean, I'm obviously familiar with both characters. I mean, duh, right? But like, um, but I'm definitely not familiar with them from like a death battle perspective. That's definitely going to be interesting. But well, cool that that's finally happening. And man, they're really working the hand-drawn stuff to the bone here, aren't they? With this episode, with Shigaraki versus Mahito, and now Wily versus Tom. All right. I mean, yeah, I'm trying to think of stuff to say and I can't. So let's just talk about this episode. This was really cool. God, I need to listen to that music. I like even as everything was going on, I was hearing all of the lyrics and references to Will of the Drill, and I'm just like, okay, I need this track. I need it right now. Thank you. Yeah, and it went crazy. It went all over the place. I kind of started to feel like when Kyle went White Lantern as fast as he did, I kind of started to feel like Simone might be winning this, but you know, it still kept me on my toes for a little bit. Especially once we got to the I actually complete opposite feeling when Kyle started reciting the Green Lantern oath. Once he started doing that, I was like, oh, maybe he's winning this. But yeah, I mean, both of them put up a hell of a fight. You know, both of them were super respectful towards each other. And yeah, I guess the only thing is like I'm just kind of surprised at how fast everything happened. Like we got Tangatopa right out the gate, we got White Lantern right out the gate, and I was like, okay, so this is probably like not like it, but it's like I don't know. I started to get an idea of where this was going, and then you know, Kyle busted out the life equation, and then Simone busted out the super form, and then they went to their base levels. Well, they went on foot anyway, I should say. But it was cool. And yeah, the music was great. The voice actors did amazing. I really don't have a whole lot to say on this one. It was a good fight. I enjoyed it a lot. And once again, I find myself wanting to read Kyle's comics. So maybe one day. But yeah. But at the end of the day, that's really all I have to say. So I hope you guys enjoyed this reaction. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And I guess I'll see you all next time for Wile E. Coyote versus Tomcat. So with that, that's all I have to say. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you all in the next video. Bye, everybody.